I'm Ananya Narendranath, and I'm from the GIIS IB class of 2020. I'm currently studying Engineering and Architectural Design at the Bartlett School of Architecture at UCL.
Hi, I'm Nirmala Narendranath. I'm the mother of Ananya Narendranath.
I joined GIIS back in 2007, so I don't really remember much from kindergarten per se. But I remember being really excited and loving the classroom environment. And I remember my kindergarten teacher, Tinky ma'am, who was really friendly and always really encouraging.
I still remember Ananya's first day in kindergarten at GIIS, and at that time she got the afternoon shift, I remember, in kindergarten, and we lived very close to Queenstown campus. So she wore her pinafore and she's my first child, so it was a very special moment. And then her class teacher, Miss Tinky Arora, she came and said, "Ma'am, you don't need to worry, we are here to take care of Ananya." And then she hugged her and she took her inside, and it's been a long journey from that to now. And we were very excited when she moved to the Balestier campus because the campus was really filled with energy. So whether it was dance or singing, storytelling, Viva Tale, Jankar, Global Indian Stars, then there was this Challenge 2020, I think, then Real World Challenges Convention, Sony Toy. I mean, that was throughout the primary years.
I remember the campus being really vibrant and lively and colorful, and the teachers were also really encouraging and supportive. In Balestier, studying was not just about learning from books. We also had fun activities in class to help us better understand the concepts. For example, I remember learning fractions using dairy milk chocolate, or after some science classes where we learned about plants, we take a trip to the Balestier garden, which really got me interested in the sciences, and I still am interested in them to this day. There were a lot of activities in Balestier, and I used to try and take part in as many as I could, whether it was Jankar, Global Indian Stars, Challenge 2020, or Viva Tale. These activities helped me gain a lot of skills, whether it was presenting in front of an audience, learning how to be creative, etc. And that really shaped me into the person I am today.
So when we got this mail from school saying that, there is a dance like the stars, there's some competition. So we said, Ananya and a couple of her friends, we decided, that we would enroll them for the competition. There were different genres available. So there was classical, there was folk, and there was contemporary. So we thought we would do a folk dance. So lots of fun rehearsing, lots of fun practicing, and the dance teacher gave such valuable inputs in terms of expressions, in terms of stage presence, how you had to use the stage. So we internalized all that, and the girls won the first prize in the first edition of the group dance.
I had my first leadership role back in Balestier in the 5th grade when I was elected as the Hibiscus House Captain. I remember the process being really exciting because we had to campaign, give speeches, stick posters around the school, approach people asking for their votes. I still remember standing outside the room while the votes were being counted. It was a really enlightening process, and it encouraged me to continue to apply for leadership positions later on. From the first time I was Hibiscus House Captain to 12th grade when I was head Media and Digital Communications, I've learned a lot about what being a good leader means. Whether it's taking initiative, moderating ideas, hearing people out, or helping them or guiding them when they need it.
I think teamwork, even losses. See, one thing is experiencing success in life. So Ananya has won many accolades, many awards across her school journey, and she has also not won. She is lost in some competitions. So I think those failures were very important, shaping that you pick up and you keep going. I remember in the first Jankar, she won the group dance, but solo she made it to the finals, but she didn't win. And she was a little deflated. She said, "Oh, I didn't win." But then that was the whole point. From next time, there was no looking back. And that's what the school does for you, because it keeps giving you these opportunities. And then you pick up and then you learn, and then you succeed or you fail, but you keep going on. And I think that's very, very beautiful.
So I used to spend a lot of time sketching back in Queenstown. I used to sketch my classroom, the people around me. It was like practice for me, because that's around the time I realized that I was really into architecture and buildings and design in general. So that's when I really started to explore that.
When she moved to Queenstown, I saw her from a transition from a primary student to someone with more confidence who had to take the initiative.
The Queenstown campus I thought was really homely and it felt really secure. I remember particularly liking the courtyard.
I think the transition, we never thought it was about the campus, I think. It was more about, their journey as a student and how the teachers helped them evolve from, small babies, and then they become, more confident teenagers, and then very assertive and very independent thinkers by the time they reach their IB. So that is what I see. I don't think it's about the campus. But I think the campuses shaped who they were, in the sense that Balestier was very, very friendly for the primary years of their life. Queenstown again was a very cozy campus, very close to our home. So yeah, it was very nice, and teachers really fostered independent thinking at that time. Smart Campus, definitely school of the future, and we are blessed that the kids are studying here now. So many opportunities available. Everything is available virtually. I mean, I watched Jankar online this time.
One major difference that I noticed was that in Queenstown Secondary, the teachers treated us more like we were adults. Like, they consulted us before setting deadlines, and we had a lot more self-study and independent learning, which was very interesting. My favorite teacher from secondary would be Deepa ma'am, who was my econs teacher, and she really helped me improve, and she transformed econs from a subject that I wasn't very comfortable with to a subject that I genuinely started to enjoy by the end. Whenever I had doubts, I would approach her, and I remember struggling a little bit with econs in the beginning. So when I realized that this was a bit of a weak point for me, I started solving questions every day and then showing them to her, and then she would correct them for me and give me feedback, which really improved my performance drastically in econs, and it generally made me start enjoying the subject.
Is that they're very approachable, and at any time you call them or you message them or you email them, they're very prompt in their response. So you can rest assured that a response will come from the teacher very quickly, and your issue will be heard and it will be addressed. So yes, it's been a very, very lovely and comfortable journey with the teachers.
I remember being completely awestruck when I entered the PG Smart Campus.
Simply blown away. And what a lovely time this has happened, this campus, because given the current COVID situation, the transition, I think, from physical learning to online learning has been so smooth. So I think that education process, that journey is continuing. And we don't feel that, while definitely physical classes are very needed in terms of your social interaction and all that, there's no, the learning has not been hampered in any way. So, and also the multipurpose MPH, the auditorium, I think it's wow, the quality of the sound system, the technology behind it, it's really amazing. And the fact that they all have their own devices, the facial recognition, then I think they have the radio lab, and then they have a culinary club. I think so many lovely things and really good and great opportunities for the kids to learn from.
Whether it was the classrooms or the screens inside the classrooms or the auditorium, it was all really high tech and really good quality, which really impressed me. This campus, the whole space is really interesting, and the way that the concept of the nest area and the Friendship Bridge. I remember genuinely being very impressed by this, by the campus when I saw it and how it was designed really well. Both of them have their own charms. The Queenstown campus has that courtyard in the middle, and it has really homely feeling, and it's like a traditional school, and I have a lot of fond memories of that place, so it has a special place in my heart. But the Smart Campus it's very futuristic and it's very uniquely designed. I started IB in the Smart Campus, and I think that was a really great experience for me because It was a lot easier to learn using presentations or videos or even group learning because of the campus, because of the screens, because of the common areas. Whenever we wanted to self-study during our self-study periods, or meet with our clubs, or even meet a teacher for feedback on our essays, the common rooms provided a really conducive environment for all that. And we had a lot of club work as well. Organizing events was a lot smoother in the Smart Campus. I had the privilege of being a part of the team that organized the first installment of GIS MUN at this campus. And the experience was something else entirely. I was on the design team. The experience of organizing the MUN in the Smart Campus was very different from organizing it in Queenstown. Working digitally was a lot easier. Like, we got to share our presentations more easily. Even having meetings was a lot easier because of the common rooms, as I mentioned earlier. And even designing was a lot easier because we got to put our posters up on the smart screens and advertise it to everyone. School's philosophy of eco-friendliness and sustainability has rubbed off on me since back when I was in Balestier, when we used to take part in competitions like the Real World Challenge Convention or Challenge 2020. Even this campus is really eco-friendly. It has a very low carbon footprint and is certified Green Mark Gold by the BCA. And that has influenced my decision to be involved in projects later on that have to do with sustainable buildings and green buildings. So I was a member of three clubs. So that would be the design club, which I founded and I was president of, and the STEM club, in which I was director of design, and also the GIS MUN, where I was director of design again. In the design experiences I got during these club activities really cemented my passion for design and architecture and the built environment. I started the design club in school because at the time there weren't too many clubs that were design oriented, and I was very passionate about it. And I was interested in finding like-minded people and in encouraging people to take up a career in design, whether it was graphic design or architecture.
So I think leadership is a very important skill in a child's life, and I think it helps the child go out into the world and when they go to university and all that. So Ananya's first journey as in leadership started when she became the Hibiscus prefect, and she's held many roles over the years. She was cultural secretary, I think, for Hibiscus in the 8th grade, where they had to organize inter-house events. She was the art prefect in 10th standard. And then she moved on to become the head of media and digital communication. So when she was in IB, she was looking at the various clubs where she wanted to enroll. And then she realized that for something that she was passionate about, design and architecture, there were not too many clubs which had the same synergy that she wanted. So she decided that she would start her own club, and then she approached the teacher, and then he was very supportive, and then he told her, yes, you submit a proposal on what you think the activities of the club should be. And then she went ahead and did that, and then they had interviews for the club. So her juniors and then her peers, many of them joined the club, and then they came up with the activities. I think they designed the backdrop for the Dandiya night, the winter formal event. So, and then they designed logos for other clubs in the schools.
So the school's really encouraging when it comes to setting up your own club or society. You just have to approach them, and they help you with setting it up, and they give you advice, and sometimes they help you market the club as well. The school really played a huge role in cementing my passion for design because of the amount of opportunities they presented me with, whether it was CCA back in primary or the design work I did in IB. All of this fostered a sense of creativity in me and got me really interested in visual art, design, etc.
This child has a very vivid imagination. Her spatial intelligence is excellent, and I can vouch for that. And Ananya, as part of the student council, was member of the media and communication team. And this set of students wanted to actually foster a V spirit in the students at GIS. They wanted to come up with a logo that would symbolize GIS students. Ananya came up with her first design, and she was extremely passionate about how she had designed it. Obviously, I took the design and I sent it to our Marcom team to look at, and they came up with versions. Ananya wouldn't give in to the design that came in from Marcom team. She had her own way of convincing me why her design, with all its finer details and attributes, was meant to be the way it was meant to be. It was her conviction that made me take back her conviction to our marketing team and ask them to rework on what they had proposed.
So one of the opportunities that the school has presented me has been designing the school mascot. As president of the design club and a member of the student council, I had the role of communicating information back and forth between the two clubs, from the designers to the head boy and head girl. And that was a very enriching experience for me. It taught me leadership skills, management skills, and even design skills. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity from the school. And it felt like I was giving back to the school after all it had done for me.
It was an honor, first of all, for her to have studied in the school for so many years and finally, get to be the head of media and digital communication as a prefect, and then also as part of the design club to be able to design and do something for the school. So it was a high, and I saw her going through the process because it was a team effort. There was a student council, then there were the teachers who were in charge of the mascot design, and then there was the design club. So they went through so many animals, what kind of which best represents our school. So all that, the school, the loyalty for the school, and what are the values that our school stands for, all those things came to the fore when this discussion was happening. And it was a back and forth process. It went on, I think, for a few weeks, if I'm not mistaken, and then they came up with the mascot. It was a very enriching process, and I'm very happy that she was a part of it and she could.
And that really got me interested in the engineering side of the built environment, like structural engineering or civil engineering, which is why the course I've taken in university is engineering and architectural design. So it's half structural engineering and half architecture.
Ananya has been very focused about wanting to do architecture. And right from early, I think she was extremely focused in getting all the requisite information that would be needed for her to excel in her portfolio, create her portfolio.
More than the academics, I think all these learnings that they have in terms of leadership, presentation, independent thinking, critical thinking, I think all these have been honed by the school. Because they've been given those opportunities to showcase the talent. I mean, I always used to think when she was maybe about this small, 6-year-old, going on the stage and performing before an audience of 200, 300 people, a solo dance, all those things really shape who you are, to be able to sing confidently, narrate a story, and that stage fear, all those things, I think those skills are, invaluable, definitely. We were introduced to the school when we were in Bombay. She took a test, her entrance test, and then when we moved here and I went to the campus and we read up all the literature, and that's one of the things that really spoke to us, in the sense that it's got this holistic development of the child, that kind of model where it focuses on all aspects of a child's development, whether it's leadership, whether it's their creativity in visual arts, performing arts, environment and sustainability, communication skills, personality development. I think the whole range, and Ananya has, thanks to the school, Ananya has got exposure to all these aspects. And I think this has played a very important role in shaping who she is today, and it has largely influenced her choice of what profession she wants to pursue in future.
The school has given us the opportunity to study in a curriculum that's both Indian and international. So I had actually started off in CBSE, and then in 8th grade I'd moved to IGCSE, and later on in 11th grade I'd moved to IB. And I'd say my proudest moment was in IG during the extended math board exam, when I got a world topper, which is I got 100 on 100 in the exam, which meant a lot to me because it felt like the discipline and the hard work I put into studying for that exam paid off, and yeah, it made me feel really good. So that definitely made me love math a lot more, and that got me really interested in the engineering side of the built environment, which is like structural engineering and civil engineering.
When we moved in from India, the first thought was we were going to go back, like after 2-3 years. I mean, we came here for a short time, but then our stay continued here. So initially we decided to, continue with CBSE because that's the syllabus we've been comfortable with and we've known. And so Ananya was studying in CBSE till 7th. And then at 7th, we had this decision to make whether to choose CBSE or IGCSE. So we did a lot of research and we spoke to the teachers. We had meetings, there were orientation sessions here where the teachers spoke to us about what is the difference between the two syllabi, and and they were very patiently able to answer all the questions we had, because we didn't know whether if we suddenly had to move somewhere else, whether the transition would continue to be seamless. So we had no problems. The teachers helped us and they put everything in place, and then we discussed it with Ananya also, and we spoke to some old parents of GIS whose children have gone through IGCSE, and then we took the call. So the transition, definitely there was a difference in terms of the approach to exams, the way the methodology of study between IGCSE and CBSE are quite different. And so it took a while. Of course, as with everything else, there is that learning curve. So the school was very helpful. The teachers, they told us how you have to, write the answers. So once the first cyclic test was done and then the semester exams got over, I think Ananya was comfortable. She knew the dynamic of the new syllabus, so she was able to cope. Yeah, and a lot of resources from the school. I mean, the teachers keep giving us, mails. A lot of mails, even for the parents. I don't think ever in these 13 years I've not been in the loop. Know whatever is happening in the school at all times. I think the communication is one of the key strengths that the school has.
So the transition from CBSE to IG was particularly shocking because that was the first time we had a curriculum change, and certain subjects, especially English, were very different in IG than they were in CBSE. And it wasn't until the first cyclic test that we realized exactly how different it was, and that kind of woke us up. So we had to put in a little more effort in order to understand exactly how things are done in IG. The transition from IG to IB was easier because we were in IG, and that's kind of similar to the style in which exams are written in IB. But it's mostly because we were expecting it to be hard. Like, we were prepared from that first curriculum change to work a lot harder and adapt faster to IB, because we had to do a lot more independent studying in IB, whether it was research, writing essays, or like self-studying.
For every subject in IB, you have something called an internal assessment that you have to do, which is like a research. For physics, for sciences, you have to conduct an experiment, and you have to come up with a research question, then you conduct the experiment, and then you have to write, you have to study and analyze and write your findings. So for chemistry, physics, maths, so the teachers, you have sessions with the teachers where you go and present your ideas, then they give you inputs, you submit your drafts, 1 or 2 drafts, and then they tell you that, maybe you can improve here, you can improve there, you can add this, you can add that. So across the board for all the subjects. So that process was, it kept happening across the 2 years. The other important thing is managing deadlines in IB is very, very important, because IB is such a challenging curriculum and there are so many deadlines which happen right through the 2 years. So managing time, I think that the school played a very important part, because the teachers would send them timely reminders, give them enough time to submit. Then, they set their review dates, saying you come by this day and you review this with me, or you sit, I'll give you feedback for this. So that, I think we didn't feel the heat at all, the parents. the kids were, completely, and not at any I don't think there were any times during the IB when like Ananya was like, in a panic or anything, because I think the time management was beautifully laid out by the school. I think that's definitely a plus.
So our teachers, they gave us a lot more specialized attention. They told us the mistakes we were making, like mistakes people tend to make, like stuff that people do in IG that people don't do in IB and things like that. And if we approached them, they were more than happy to help us out. Especially when it came to doing research, a lot of them gave us a lot of resources, told us exactly how to go about writing a research paper. Like our extended essay is technically a research paper, and adding a bibliography, appendices. That was all very new for us, but our teachers guided us through the whole process, which really helped. So when COVID hit, we were given the option to stay at home. So the school actually made it really easy, like attending classes virtually. So there was a camera that recorded the whiteboard and the teacher, and asking questions was also quite it was quite easy because we could hear everything the teacher was saying, and our voice would play on the classroom speakers. So it was definitely different from being in class.
I don't think it was very different in the sense that both were in their independent rooms. See, in terms of technology or technical problems, there were none. I mean, they both had the right bandwidth, and it was a seamless process in that way. For at home, we also had to adapt, but we were very, very happy that the school, our kids are studying in a school where such things are possible, that they are able to continue their learning journey, not having to take a break, especially for Ananya, because she was in a very critical year of her education, final year of education before university.
So the virtual classes came at a time when we were mostly revising our material, so it didn't hinder our understanding of the subject in any way. Even Zoom classes were they weren't inconvenient at all. It was still easy to understand. Interaction with our teacher was still quite easy. It wasn't the same as being in person in class, but it definitely wasn't inconvenient or didn't hinder my understanding of any subject. It was definitely a shock. It came as a huge shock to us that our final exams were being cancelled, because that's kind of what our life builds up to. From kindergarten, we know that our 12th board exams are going to be very important. So hearing that it was cancelled came as a huge shock to us, and none of us really believed it. And some of us were still studying a little after in case they were going to happen again. It was a very, very unique situation to be in. My first instinct was that, yes, the exams are cancelled. But then after a while, the fact that we wouldn't be able to actually write the exams made it feel like there was a lot out of our hand.
I mean, it was a shock when we heard that there are going to be no exams. But then we told Ananya, you continue studying, because if they revoke the decision, or if maybe at a later date they hold the exam, then you shouldn't be at a disadvantage. During this whole process, I think a lot of communication from the school was very reassuring. They kept that thread of communication alive, saying that we hear you, we are with you. We are also talking to IB, we are talking to them to ensure that this whole process is smooth for the children. So every step of the way, the school kept communicating with the parents, saying that this is what is happening now, this is going to happen, this is what will happen. So that way we were, at peace. Because this is a very unique situation for everybody this year. So everybody has gone through different sets of problems. For our side, the biggest thing was all their submissions were done on time. So all that was done. It was only the exam that hadn't been done. So we, in that way, 90% of the job was done. All their internal submissions, extended essays, TOKs, everything was already done. Actually, she was a little lost till the 9th standard. She did not know what she wanted to do.
So I had met Seema ma'am a couple of times, and she gave me information on on which colleges to apply to. She looked at my personal statement and gave me feedback on that. She was very helpful with the whole process.
She used to keep sketching her friends, sketching the campus, her classroom. I mean, she has got like, I think 3 books filled with sketches of her stay in Queenstown, of her desk, classroom, the teacher, the whole class portrait. So so at that time when we would ask, she would say, I don't know what I want, I don't know what. But only one thing we knew, she liked maths, she liked science, and she was creative. So I think when she reached her 10th, I think mid-10th, one day she just came and told us that I've decided to become an architect. So I really don't know what actually pushed her in that to that chosen profession.
So Ananya Narendranath is also one of the equally good students that I had in my class, very obedient, very sincere child, with a passion, lot of passion on design and infrastructure. She always had that knack to go in for architectural things.
I chose UCL because it's one of the more prestigious architecture schools, and this particular course, which was engineering and architectural design, felt like it was tailored for me because I was confused as to which side of the built environment I wanted to work in, whether it was structural engineering or architecture. On top of all that, the Bartlett School of Architecture also puts a lot of focus on sustainability, which is in alignment with my goals and what I hope to be like as an architect or a civil engineer later on. So I had my interview back in April, and a week or so later, or that weekend, I got an email saying that I'd gotten in. The school approached me asking me to have a webinar on the architecture application process, and I was very happy to do so because I realized when I was applying for architecture and engineering. So I'm very excited to be starting university. It's meeting new people and self-studying. It's a very interesting process, and I'm really happy to be studying something that I'm very passionate about. But at the same time, I still really miss the people in school and the safe environment in school and the way opportunities are like handed to you in school, but you have to work a little harder in university to get those same opportunities and the same amount of recognition. The school has really prepared me well for university, whether it's like just leadership skills or presentation skills or academic skills. Yeah, I feel like I'm prepared to take on university now, but I'm really going to miss school and the whole environment and the people, definitely.
I think the relationship that GIS has with its parents is also very special because I think we know all the teachers, we have a connect with all the teachers, and they're all very friendly, very approachable and very helpful at all times. So yes, it is a very proud moment, and it is also a very poignant moment when she moves to do something else, and I hope that she will always give back to the school. Global Indian School is a brand that is now available around the world, so wherever she is, I hope she'll be able to make meaningful contributions to the GIS community. I would like to thank GIS for this wonderful journey. I'm still happy the journey continues with my second child. We are very thankful to the teachers, to the staff, to the principal, to the management, to everybody who has helped make Ananya who she is today. Today, I think the school has not only taught her academically, but I think it has instilled the right values for life, which I think is very important, that she can go out into the world and be a responsible global citizen, I think.
I'd like to thank all my teachers for all the help they've given me and for shaping me into the person I am today. I'm very grateful for what the school has done for me, and I want to give back to the school and will do as much as I can as an alumna of the school later on.